creates an LTI with YouTube that we don't have to go out of YouTube and we can stream live, and it's easier for us, and I make sure that it works, and I see that it works. So everyone looks good on that aspect. Okay. So today I'm going to cover some assignments, and let's think about what is due. So let me share my screen. And when I look at my screen, let me go to Chrome, and you see here, everyone looks great. And Beckham, we see that you're munching along, and that's fine for our class. I don't mind. You don't get any crumbs in my class, so that is good. I don't mind. Okay, so we have that part. We know that is working. And then I have my audit section, and I have, in this case, I need to go to my regular section. And this is one of the things I want to talk about. Right there, everybody see announcement? Anna, do you see the announcements? Perfect. So you see register for a Wix webinar. What we're doing for our final project is we are going to be AI consultants to companies. And in order to do that, we will share with them our expertise. And I have an academic partnership with Wix, where we'll be also creating a website. And what I normally want to do is also to have everyone get a free domain name, that it looks professional. So normally Wix requires a paid subscription, but I want my students all to have free access. So Wix is offering what they call a complimentary business plan. So exclusively to students who attend this Wix University webinar. So what I need you to do is put in your calendars to attend the Wix University webinar on February 20th at 12 p.m. It's from 12 to 1 p.m. And what I want to do is I want you to register for that tonight. And basically, we can just do this right now, is register, make a screenshot of your registration and upload it to your audit assignment instructions, that the proof that you've registered. And then when it comes about, you'll just listen to the webinar, and then you will get an access code. And that access code in that webinar, you'll do just a little one paragraph reflection of that and upload that later on. But for right now, what I like is for everyone to go to this website. Everybody see that? Anna, you see this website? Go to that website right there in the announcements. And let me open up a new tab here. And it will be under here. You'll go and launch your site. It's this one. Scroll down and you'll see launch your site with Wix. Join the Wix University team for an interactive session on building your online presence with the Wix editor. So go ahead. It's online. It's on February 20th, Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. And then just click on register. And basically you'll see that you'll learn how to plan, design, launch a professional website using the intuitive tools. Hopefully they have a new software within Wix called Harmony. As a matter of fact, any of you that watched the Super Bowl last night, they had a quick ad. I don't think it was a good ad because it was hard to figure out what they did. But anybody remember seeing Wix Harmony? It's one of their ads. They put it as an ad there where they'll guide you through the website creation process. And they're trying to incorporate AI into it. And you can be a beginner. You don't need to know any coding. And what is right here, plus all attendees receive the 1-year Wix Premium completely free to start building right away. So you need to register using your valid edu address, your miami.edu address, and registers without a school affiliated email will not be admitted. So make sure you put that in. You can put in your information here and register. And when you just register, then take a screenshot of it. And then when you go back to the audit assignment proof of Wix webinar registration, audit assignment instruction, you see here proof of registration. Just click on that. And from here, rather than doing in the audit area here, just upload that screenshot and add the comments of who you are. And you'll just submit that. Okay. So you'll create the submission, and you'll put that in. You'll upload your files and add a comment. And down below, you'll see in the corner there, you have the submit button. That's it. What I suggest you do, what I like to do, Anna, is just get it out of the way. Just do it now. You know what I mean? So one less thing while I'm speaking, one less thing to do. Okay? And if there's any issues on that, contact your TA who's on board there. And Anna, you'll stay with me after, Anastasia, you'll stay with me afterwards and discuss that and make a list. Anything else, Anastasia, that I need to know about?
No, nothing in particular. I think you
Okay.
covered everything.
Okay, so everybody got that? Andrea, did you get that? So you get
Yes.
that? Did you register already?
Already did.
Already did. Isn't that nice? That's one of the assignments. I love it. Get it out of the way. Okay, we got that. The next part I want to look at is always of the what's due section. And the what's due section, we knew that last week we had the advanced digital assignment and we had the readings of software. And we talked about RAM, secondary storage. And we also talked about what operating system you have and who cares. You remember that, Andrea? So we did that. The next thing that we need to do for this Wednesday, February 11th, before class, was one to read about data and knowledge management, right? The reading, do the adaptive assignment and the quizzes. Just like we did before, no big shakes on that. That's what I say that we need to know. So the idea is about the audit assignment. So if I look at the audit assignment, this week there's two parts 1 and part 2. For some students, they got confused thinking that part 1 was due this week, part 2 is next week. No, they all were scheduled to be due this Wednesday before class. And if you looked at the audit assignments instruction, this was on the screen recording assignment. You had 2. You had part 1. For part 1, I want each person to select a recording software program. And you need to check with your group to make sure that it's different from everyone else in the group. And what I want is a recording that is like a product review, that you there are speaking, you there are showing your face, and you are recording using that software. Any comments, Anastasia, that you had seen that you want to give feedback about? Anastasia, anything that you wanted to give feedback about for what you saw in terms of the individual recording assignments? You saw a couple of students.
Yeah, I reached out to, I think, one individual that whose audio didn't work, but I think that was just a very technical error. So we're
Uh-huh.
working on that. And then just make sure that your text matches the formatting of the example in group 0. Make sure that it matches For the individual assignment, the format of your team members. If something's capitalized, please make sure it's capitalized in your submission. Otherwise, you will get points off for lack of attention to detail. Besides that, I think so far so good. I mean, I think with assignment
Okay.
2, there was a lot of improvement
Okay,
from
perfect.
assignment 1, so I think we're good so far.
We're good.
Mhm.
So what I want to do is I want everyone to have done the first part of the assignment. So when they go to the group recording, that you can participate fully. The idea of the group recording is that each person then will be familiar with their own recording plus everyone else's. So you'll have in your mind at least 3 or 4 screen recording programs. In order to do that, what I'm going to be doing is I am going to extend the deadline until this Friday at 11:59 p.m. Everybody understand? For this, just for the group assignment. The readings and everything else will be due on Wednesday. But for the group assignments, I'm extending that till Friday. So in order to meet for the group, in order to have this done well, is what I'm going to do is we are not going to have formal class this Wednesday. Instead, I want you to meet, Ella, I want you to meet with your groups. And before Wednesday, before class, have your first part of your assignment due. And then on Wednesday, everybody knows between 5:05 and after 6, you'll have time to do your group recording. Everybody with me? So in this case, Andrea, I don't know, do you want to put a note there in the chat for everyone to realize? What did you understand, Andrea?
Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll put it in the chat. So basically, we won't be having class this Wednesday. It'll just be like a time to meet with our groups and do the assignment.
Yes.
So there was a question in the
Yeah,
chat regarding
right.
the Wix assignment. If some students have a class, like at that time,
Yeah, so let
I
contact
can
Anastasia.
I can talk on that. If I was actually just typing it out, but
Yeah,
if you have a class or like an actual excuse during the Wix assignment on February 20th, then send me evidence and I'll put you on the list. If it's an actual excusable thing like a doctor's appointment or a class, then send me evidence and you're
yeah.
good.
Okay.
And Dr. Rush, do you want me to make an announcement regarding the change of the due date and that
Yeah,
there's no
yeah,
class,
yeah,
no
right.
formal class? Okay,
That'd be great so everybody
of course.
sees it. And
Mhm.
those that sometimes people are, thinking about other things, and also those that didn't attend. But it's important. And those in the group, basically, thank you, Andrea, and those in your group, make sure that you send out a note then, Andrea, to everybody in your group that you're meeting on Wednesday. And you can meet it. And the beauty is you don't even have to meet physically. You can decide how you want to meet, right? And you can set up your own, that one person can set up their own Zoom meeting, right? Invite others. But everyone in the group meeting has to showcase their product and talk about it and talk about the pros and cons. And you may want, those of you that have done it already, you may want to look at some others that maybe you want to basically have time to improve what you've done as well. So those of you that even have attempted the first shot, the first shot is never perfect, right? Like any other recording. So you're welcome to do a second and a third, Andrea. But I thought that it was kind of, we push those two together, the individual and the group, that I could see a lot of people, it would be really, if they would have finished the assignment, it wouldn't have been their best efforts. So that's why I'm doing it. So we're not going to have this Wednesday, we're not going to have a formal class, and you can meet with your groups on your own. Everybody clear with that? And Anastasia, you can then announce it to the class to make sure the announcement, and then it can be sent to through email that everybody receives it. Any questions on that? We're good on that? How's that work out, Andrea? Is that, you feel that that'll work out better for your group?
yeah, I feel like that'll work really well.
Yeah. So I want the best, and I want you, it's yours. It's the type of thing that'll be, Andrea, it'll be part of your portfolio. right? When I even think about it, later on you can say, oh, what do you know how to do, right? And later on you can incorporate it, and some of you also can incorporate it even into your final project. So I want to make sure that everyone understands that. Nobody's going to ask, let me see your quizzes that you took or your tests. No, nobody cares about what you did, but show me what you've done. And these are invaluable. Okay, so we're set on that. I think we got that part. Everybody good with that? Okay, so then in sharing, let me share my screen again. That you can see everybody's looking good. So I see these two parts then have been extended, right, to this Friday. But when you look at what's due, Andrea, that maybe you want to put this in the chat too, is the readings and the adaptive assignment and the quizzes. I'd like you to get that done already for Wednesday. That's not a big deal. Everybody can do that on their own. They don't need to have anything special. So the data and knowledge management will be done. Okay, and then we'll meet on Monday and we'll have additional problems. And then if you look at the date then of March, after this chapter, we'll have one more chapter before the exam, and we'll have time for, I want to do time for the review, and I want to use AI. Beckham, I want to have you do another assignment using AI to use AI to study for the exam. You understand? So another assignment will be, we'll review some other AI to help us. And the assignment will be, let's take each of those chapters and get into detail to produce questions and study guides and things like that. So for our work after this assignment, we'll be preparing for the exams. And there'll be another part of the exam which will be open-ended questions. But what I'll do in that case, Andrea, is I'll be giving you a number of questions in advance, and I'll pick two or three questions from those, because it can be overwhelming, right? Ella Turk, if there's so much material there, you're saying, oh, it's open-ended, the whole world is there. And the exams are in person, and they are without notes and no internet. So you really want to focus in. I'd like you to focus in rather than just being open there. Any comments, questions that I need to address? We okay? So I think we got that. Anastasia, anything else I need to, are we all right with
No, all
what's
good.
due?
All
Good.
good.
Okay. So if I look at Wiley Plus, the next part that I'm going to be talking about is data and knowledge management. And if you look at the subject areas, and this is due on Wednesday, if you look at the subject, it's talking about managing data, the data approach, big data, and data marts, and knowledge management. Note this 5.6, you may want to put a note there for everybody. The 5.6, I'm not going to emphasize. That's more complicated when people are into database management of the fundamentals of relational database operations. But I'll concentrate more from managing data, the database approach, big data, and data warehouses. So when I think about managing data, these are like the chapters here. They say what the learning objective is, discuss ways that common challenges in managing data that can be addressed using data governance. So there's a couple of things we need to talk about. First, about data, and what does it mean, data governance? And what is always my question is, who cares, right? So if I think about data, we all know what data is, and it's never now, with the advent of the internet, with the advent of AI, there isn't a lack of data. When we even think about all these data, what they call data factories, all of these companies like OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, what are they doing? They're building these big data centers with a lot of electricity because what? What do they have? It's a lot of data that they need to process, to gain insights, to give us my chat GPT that it can immediately come back with doing a lot of work. So let's talk about first what organization, or what I call an enterprise, and an enterprise is a large organization, and you'll hear that word enterprise used frequently in information technology jargon. They'll say the enterprise computing, and we know the enterprise is what? What do we have all in common that we are all associated with? What enterprise or what organization? Victoria, what do you think? What enterprise do we all know and we're all a member of this group that meets here? You know it. What do me and you have in common in terms of an enterprise? What enterprise, what organization do we know, both of us, that we're a member of?
University of Miami.
Exactly. University of Miami, Victoria, is an enterprise. We have different roles, right? You have the role of student. I have the role of professor, faculty. Do you think they have data, the university stores data about you and me?
Yeah,
Victoria?
I do.
Mhm. We don't even know, really, do we? How much data they store, right? How the world even knows, right? Like there's no, but we know some things that they have. So let's think about students now. I know what the faculty has about me. So let's think about what we have. So Noam, let's think about data and basically what data, start listing what data does the university have about you? Give me a list. They have your name, right? They
Well,
have
they
your
have
first name.
they
What?
ask your social. They
Okay,
ask
what else?
for
Besides social, because does everyone have a social security number? No. At the
um
university, you think?
no,
No, why not? No.
they're international kids.
Right, international don't have social. So instead of, what did they create for each individual associated with the university instead of a social? No.
I'm not sure. Like,
What is it replacing? Who can tell me? Who can raise their hand and tell me, instead of a social security number, what do they use at the university in place of that?
Is it just a C number?
C number. Beautiful. Have you heard of that, Noam? C number?
yeah, I didn't know it replace social. But
Well, it doesn't replace it, but they use that as unique. They don't store everybody's social. You understand? They store, we're on a roll. They create a C number. That's what? Can any C number, Noam, be the same as someone else's at the
No.
university? No. It's what? Unique. And you can put it in your notes, everyone, that in database terms or in data terms is called a primary key. Did you hear that, Victoria? It's called a primary key. And what is a primary key? It's a unique identifier to get a record or get to your data. So Noam has a different, everyone here, whether you're international or not, whether you're faculty, whether you're staff, or whether you are a student, has a C number. I have a C number, you have a C number, and they are unique. And why do we want something unique, Ella Turk? Is what? Is your name, could your first name and last name possibly not be unique?
Yeah, you just want to make sure it's like an individual, like unique character to
Right.
classify you.
Right. So Ella, of course, there's even more in this class, right? But Turk, there could possibly be another Ella Turk. So in this case, it has to be unique to that basic identifier, right? And in other ways, they use Social Security. Another reason they want to do it is Social Security numbers have some other security risk, but the main reason is they want to set that up. So that is unique. So we got that part. Noam, you're on a roll. So we got first name, we got last name, we got now everybody has C number. What other, who has data about you at the university? Let's even do that. Let's start with the department and area. Who do you think, starting off, Noam, what is your major?
Finance.
Finance. So do you think the finance department has data about you?
Yeah, assuming so.
Yeah. So what do they have? First name, last name, C number, what else? Probably
Phone number,
address.
address,
What else?
date of birth,
Date of birth, what else? Your
um,
major, right? That's going to be part, right?
mhm,
Your GPA probably, right? Because they have to know whether, in finance, you have to keep a certain average in finance to continue? No.
yeah.
Yeah, so they have to keep track of that, right? They may have later on. Okay, so it's the finance department. What other departments besides your finance, or if you're in marketing, or if you're in undecided or whatever, who else has data about you? Raise your hand. No, who else? You got the finance department, who else?
I
Are
mean,
you in, what school are you in?
the Herbert School of
Herbert, business
entire
school. Do you
school of
think they
business.
have data about you?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. And they have what if you're what not only major, what is your year? What is your date of possibly of graduation?
Yeah.
Right? Who else? Okay, so we got that. Finance, we got School of Business. What else? Who else, Anna?
Maybe
What
just like
other,
the general undergraduate building or school or something.
right? The undergraduate, right? There's an undergraduate. Admissions. Do you think they have data about you? So they have that common thing of your name and all the things that demographics that Noam said, plus your major, plus what else is basically is how you applied and things where you're from. And then they have an address of your home address. And then they also have your present address. Who else? So we got admissions, registrar. What do you think, Victoria? Registrar keeps the record of you. Do they also have all that information? They have common things, right? Plus they have unique. Who else? That's 6 already. Who else? How many people live on campus? Raise your hand. If you live on campus. If you live on campus, housing, right? The entire housing, maybe the exact dorm that you live in, right? Right? What else is there? If you're in any sports teams, the library. Anybody ever been to the health center? Raise your hand. You've ever been to the health center? They got tons of information, right, Michael, on you? They're keeping it. And they have the common things as well. So you can go on and on. Parking, if you have a car, on and on that they have. So that is data. And what then is data governance? Data governance means that we need this institution, this enterprise, to develop rules and procedures on gathering the data. What data do we want to bring then, Ella? Do I want to bring in some personal information? They may be in admissions. You never know. They may be looking at your social media, maybe looking at your Instagram account. I don't know what they're getting on that. Things are public, right? They can look in your LinkedIn or whatever accounts are. So there's a group of people in the organization and even within the departments deciding not only what data we're going to collect, but what else is if it's updated. Let's say, Ella, that you move. Let's say your parents move. Do they need to update that? Is that going to be accurate? And if each department, everybody clear with me? If each department in the school keeps their own files, what's the problem with that? Isabella, do you understand my dilemma. We have data governance that they're going to have rules and people that own the data to tell. And the question is, if each department, like, what's your major, Isabella?
Finance.
Finance. That finance department keeps data about you. The School of Business keeps that data. The admissions keeps that data. What's the problem that each individual department keeps the data on you? Is it duplicate? Is it redundant, Isabella? You know what redundant means?
Yeah, I would say it's probably redundant.
Yeah, of course it is. It just, Noam said, right? Noam, you said it's the name, your address, all that, your GPA. You think your GPA is floating around in a number of different spots? Sure it is. In the finance department, School of Business, in the registrar. So what do we have? We have redundancy. And then what happens, I may have your data, the same data items may be repeated, let's say 30 times or 50 times throughout the university. What happens if you change something? You change an address, Isabella. What happens? It has to be then what? Updated 30 times? You think that's a waste of time? You think that's going to take up space? Going to have more people to do it? Do you think it's a tendency, Isabella, to have mistakes? Yes. So that's what we call a data file system that is what I call siloed. So for instance, Isabella, where are you from?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. So if there were, for instance, somebody asking for a female from the Northeast that majors in finance, that we have a scholarship, I would have no idea. Because these bits of information, and let's say, we'll just say for sake that has a GPA over a certain number, I wouldn't have access to it because the data, again, is siloed. What finance does, remember, I don't have that data. What the School of Business has, I may not have all that data. I have data just about my students. So one of the problems with that file system is the data, what we call is data siloed. That it's by itself and it doesn't have an opportunity to be shared. So that is a way in which they call database management systems, which says, guess what? As an organization, as an enterprise, a lot of the data we want to consolidate in one place. And then each department can take turns getting access to the data that's relevant to it. Everybody with me? So there's going to be advantages to and disadvantages. And in data governance, there's going to have to be rules of who takes care of the data and what becomes accurate in the data. Now, in AI, what is going to be in AI? AI is going to be then turned into what they call AI agents. Anybody has ever heard of that term? Anastasia, have you ever heard of that term, AI agents?
I have heard of that term.
And we got to figure out what is an AI agent. So let's have that. Let's have everybody look it up. What is an AI agent?
It autonomously performs tasks on behalf of a user.
Okay. So what does that mean?
It'll
In
do stuff for you.
plain English. It autonomously,
It'll do
basically
stuff for
on
you.
its own, performs tasks for the user. And how is that different from ChatGPT?
ChatGPT can't do stuff for you. It just
Okay,
answers.
what can it do? It can prompt. So this is doing a task. So TaskGPT can answer a prompt, but an agent then can do tasks for you. And what they're anticipating in business, that AI agents will be doing tasks, for instance, reading emails, reading spreadsheets, creating spreadsheets. will do tasks, and there'll be multiple agents that one agent may call another agent, or you may have like 10 agents doing one task. What's the problem with that? Anybody kind of see what could possibly be a problem with all those AI agents doing tasks for you?
Cost, energy usage, be inefficiency.
But basically, do you actually know, Sully, if you were in a business and you had all these AI agents working for you, they need to be audited, right, Sully? Think about it. They could
Like
go
Claude
on
is being
and
deleted right now.
what?
It's like Open Claude.
Yes.
It's why everyone's like uninstalling Open Claude because like I just saw a thing like 5 minutes before I got on this about how Open Claude had gotten scammed by an Alex Hormozy ad and had spent over 7 grand on Alex Hormozy courses because it's gonna quote 10x your investment.
Yeah, but
And it's just
they
straight up
can
used the guy to
fall for it,
cover it.
and I don't know what's happening, and also conditions can change. So it could be, first of all, I don't know who wrote the agent, right? And not even that, is the agent performing appropriately? And my data, Sully, gets changed frequent. My environment changes. So what there's now going to be doing, there's a subset of people, if you think about new jobs, is what they call AI governance. Rather than the rules to create data, AI governance will be, I have to audit what the AI agents do. I have to make sure that they work properly. I have to make sure that they're documented properly, and I have to make sure I know what is not only happening today, but what will happen. Also, there becomes with AI agents, there becomes maybe security risks. Then it may be that I can then forecast and be able to say that AI agent, I can get them to do illegal tasks within an organization. So that is going to be what needs to be. So if I share my screen now, so everybody understand the problem with with data, how I have to control my data, how I have to automate my data. I want to reduce that redundancy, but I want to be able, I'm working in so many aspects that I don't want my security to be disrupted. So I'm going to share my screen. And if I look at it, let me just bring up a PowerPoint so everybody can see. Let me go back up here. So if I look at my PowerPoints that you have access to, Anna, you see that these learning objectives are what's critical in the discussion of data. And they're talking about, now we know what data governance is, the challenges in managing that data, using data governance, who's going to control my data, what are the roles and procedures, right? Remember how we talked about roles, Anna, that you shouldn't be able to change your grades. I shouldn't be able to change my salary. And maybe I can create an agent later on to do that, and maybe make it not as, maybe if they gave me a, let's say a 5% raise, I'll have them change it as a 10% raise. Maybe it won't be so blatant, and every month they'll give me 10% more. Maybe they won't look at it. And then when you think about it, big data is basically, if I think about the stock market, and Anna, what is your major again?
Economics.
Economics, and I'm going to forecast the stock market. One of the things is I'm going to forecast that, and I think about all the symbols and basically the ticks on high frequency trading. It may be a good example of having big data and using AI to do all the modeling. And the other part that we talk about, you see this term data warehouse? You know what a warehouse is, right? Beckham, what's a warehouse? It's a building that you can store something, right, Beckham? So a data warehouse, instead of storing certain hardware, we're storing what, Beckham?
Data.
Data. And what's the idea? In a data warehouse, we're always, and you can put this in your notes, we're always going to be storing data that's historical and non-volatile. Remember, we talked about non-volatile, it means it's static. We're going to be storing that data in this data warehouse in order to what? To get software and even AI to give us insights about our data that we're not familiar with. So it may be, as admissions may be storing data to find out, Anna, what makes the most successful student at the university? Which type of students? What are the characteristics of the students that really not only love this university, but also succeed well and get high-paying jobs? We only can find out a lot about it is if we take past data, right? And even it may be, we'll take even data after 5 years after they graduate, and only then we can see how well they've performed and maybe see what were the characteristics. Was it where they came from? Was it the courses they took? Were there certain characteristics that we may not be even familiar with? So what? So the admissions can then focus better on recruiting and instead of getting students coming in that say after a semester or a year, this is not the place for me. Either they don't do well academically, they don't do socially, they don't like the climate, they don't like the atmosphere, whatever it is. And then what we'll be talking about is you'll see among those is talking about managing the data, that database approach rather than just files, having big data, a data warehouse, and the difference between a data warehouse and a data mart is a smaller, like a little bodega, where this is large. This will be a subset of my data. So this may be just a marketing plan to see just on admissions, how we can do better recruiting, and we may have in our data warehouse all the data on all our students. Or maybe we're going to have a new major of AI, we're going to have a new major undergraduate AI. If they major in AI, what is the best second major they should do in order to be most successful? So you can see in this case, you have it, and under managing data, you see there's difficulties. What are the difficulties of managing data? Is to keep it current. What are the difficulties of managing data? Is to be accurate. What is the difficulty of managing data? Is, do I have the right data? And then data governance. Who in the university is going to take care of that? Just doesn't happen by chance. Later on, you can even program agents, but you have to give it some rules, some techniques, and what to do. So that is the area. And you can see what are the difficulties of managing data. First of all, it increases exponentially. It just goes overwhelming. We can get multiple sources of the data. It doesn't have to be just from this university, right? It can be from other sources. And data rot. What does data rot mean? Just like you have something in the back of your refrigerator, then when I clean it out, I said, gee, how long have I had that? That's past its expiration date. Data rot means what? That my data is not current. I have your old address from 10 years ago. Data degradation means that data is no longer relevant. And guess what? When I put all my data together, Anna, what happens? I have to worry about the data security. Because guess what? Now it's in one place for all my hackers to go. Before it was distributed. So if they attacked the admissions office, I had the other places, and then the data quality of it and the integrity. The integrity is, can I basically rely on it? And many times there's government regulations. Those of you who are in want to do anything in banking, finance, economics, there's government regulations. If in healthcare, you go to the health center, they have to do government regulations to protect your data. So these are the ideas that you have. And basically, they have what they call master data. Master data is that data that is basically universal. Master data versus, let me just put that in, versus transaction data. Transaction data is used specifically on each course that you take with each GPA you do. Or transaction data, you go to CVS and buy something, all those transactions, you bought milk, you bought bread, you bought shampoo, those are all the transactions. But master data are common. So it would be all my regular student type of data that I'm going to collect on them as master data. But individual details are in transaction. And then there's the data hierarchy. We talked about this before. The relational database model we'll leave for right now. But this, I guarantee you, Isabella, will be on the exam. And that is when we talk about data management systems, what do I want to do? I don't want to have duplicate data items. You're addressed 20 times or 30 times or 50 times in the database. So what I want to do is I have that problem of duplicate data. So a database management system minimizes data redundancy. I'll have less, you see that, Isabella? I'll have less data redundancy. I'll also have less data isolation. That when I'm looking for Isabella, I'm looking for a female student that maybe is a junior with a certain GPA that they want to offer scholarship. My data won't be isolated. I, as a professor, hears about it because I'm within the community. I'll be able to do it. And data inconsistency. When you move and it was only updated once in one place, there's going to be data inconsistency. So if I only have one place to do it, when you move, Isabella, I only have to update that once. So these three, redundancy, isolation, and inconsistency, I'm going to minimize. Make sense? Yes? So in this case, I want to go the other way. And guess what, Sully? If I put all this data in the data management system together, I'm going to be more vulnerable to what? Data security, data integrity, and data independence. Data security, because guess what? When I look into that safe, all my jewels are in one place. It's not scattered all over campus. My data integrity is that somebody can go in inadvertently or with intention to make changes to that data. And data independence, if I have software and I change the software, I want the data to be separate from the software, that I don't have to update all my data at once. Everybody with me? So this is a perfect example. Let me just do this on the slideshow. From the current slide that you see here, just like we were talking about, this is the registrar's office. This is the accounting department or finance department within the university, athletics. So I have my athletic team data, my certain student athlete data. Here it has all your tuition data, your fee data, your payment data. And here the registrar has all your courses, your enrollment, and your registration. All of this is in that one database management system. So they all can share that in order to get course listings versus student registration versus student fees versus athletics fees versus student athletes. This is what they talk about data, and data management. And on top of that are going to be those AI agents to give insight to that data. And then we talk about the data hierarchy, which this is bits, bytes, fields, data file, or database that you'll need to know. And basically, this is simple. When I think about then that, and you can see a lot of the definitions here, you can see about it in anywhere you can do this, but basically, this is how the data grows. It's basically the data starts with on and off switches to a byte, which is just a character. If I think about it, and a field in a spreadsheet is a column. So if I had a grade book, right, test 1, test 2, first name, last name, they're all my fields. And then my data file is my sheet. And my database is all my files together, all my sheets together. And they have one more that they didn't list here, and that is a record. And a record then is like a row in a spreadsheet. So if I had the row, I would have then Isabel's record, Sully's record, right? Ella's record. They're just a row. You know these, but you just know them from different terms. So this is what they talk about in the hierarchy of the database, or that database file. So you see the file, the record, the field, the byte, the bit, my student of the record they have, right? Their name, their major, those are fields, those are columns. And then the byte is just one letter. It's a combination of zeros and ones, and then just zeros and ones. So this is what, and then they have here a faculty, the professor, the name, the same idea. Questions? Okay, perfect. So, Andrea, you want to summarize what's due, what's going to happen this week?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let me pull up real quick. Okay, so we basically said we don't have class on Wednesday. So we're gonna be basically like meeting up with our groups. We're gonna take the time to do that. The audit assignments are gonna be due on Friday, 11:59. And then apart from that, we have the readings, the adaptive assignments, the quizzes. And if I understood correctly, you'd still like for us to do that for
Yeah, do that out of the way. Get that out of the way for Wednesday. You know what I mean? Before class. And that doesn't take much. You know what I mean? In terms of you don't need to coordinate. You can do that. And then on Monday, we'll meet. We'll go over any questions you have. We'll continue with the data management, and then we'll start with we'll do another assignment and another chapter. So this way everybody gets everything done well, rather than, the last minute just throwing out something together. Because Andrea, like I said, I want this to reflect you, that you can take it with you, and you're going to be using it again in other exercises. All of this you'll be using for your final project. Anything else? Excellent. Any other comments, questions that you have in the chat? Stay with me if you have additional questions. Thanks everybody for participating. Anastasia, do you want to let you, as the illustrious TA of this group, you want to, any last words of wisdom?
Nothing in particular. I think you got everything covered.
Okay, so good. And then you'll be grading their assignments and giving them feedback. I appreciate all that you do for the students. And I think you guys appreciate her as well. I think this also, I like it that she's close to you. So it's like the student point of view that she always, gives, that I think is important for our group. Okay. So you want to do attendance?
Yep. I just put it in the chat and I can screen share the code as well.
Perfect. Okay, it's good enough. Everybody sees it. And everybody knows that they can stay with us to answer any questions. And you have the list of those that are not able, that have a conflict?
Yes, they already emailed me proof of
Okay,
their conflicts. Mhm.
okay. All right, and I'll talk to you after we finish on that. Okay. And everybody else, when they register, should have just finished the registration. Don't even have to bother with doing that. But if those people that weren't able to be here, they can register. That's why we're leaving it till 11:59 tonight. Okay, so you can stop sharing.
Hi, sorry, I just had a question about the final project. Like when do we like have instructions about that? Like where's
That'll
the
be after
deadline?
the exam, after the
Okay,
first exam.
okay, no
So
problem.
we're
Oh
we're
yeah,
we're, we're prepping on that, but you can think about it is in the
okay,
groups that will be like AI consultants in a certain
okay,
whether it's mental health or it's to give advice to entrepreneurs or finance, wealth management. What is your major, Raphael?
finance.
Finance. So you can think about something in which you wanted to contribute. But
Yeah,
we'll do into the details of it. But we want
after the
everybody to
exam.
have first the
Yeah,
tools.
yeah. Okay, no problem. Thank you so much.
Perfect. I'm glad for your curiosity. Bye.
Bye.
So Julia, what's up?
Sorry, my Wi-Fi disconnected, so just got in the meeting. All right, thank you.
Did you get that we don't have class on Wednesday and you're going to meet with
Yes,
your
I heard
groups?
that.
Okay, I just want to make sure the important stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you sign up? Okay. Sully, what's up?
Hey, sorry, Anastasia, I'm trying to figure out how to send you like my proof for me having a class then. I have accounting, but he does it in Canvas, so I don't know.
Just take a screenshot of literally anything. Like, does it say like the time of the class anywhere? It should in K-Link too. Like if you go to K-Link on schedule.
Oh yeah, I could do that
Yeah.
actually.
And you can
All
just
right.
email me or text me the proof of that screenshot.
All right, cool. Thank you so
Mhm.
much.
Yep.
Thanks, guys. Have a good week.
Thank you. Have a
Bye.
good week. Ciao. So let me stop everything.